Okay, let us start with our puja now. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya maccappamadatthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, please prepare yourself for a short sitting on breath meditation. As always, the first thing, especially when you're practicing on your own, check your posture. Spend a few minutes. Make sure you're sitting comfortably in a balanced way. No bone pressing on bone if you're sitting on the floor cross-legged. Make sure you have enough padding. Don't sit on the cold floor. And keep your body upright and then relax. Your body will take a natural curve after that, it's all right. Keep it upright like the Buddha image. Your hands can be together like the way the meditation gesture of the Buddha, or on your laps, whichever is comfortable. And once you start, look down 45 degrees in front of you and close your eyes is best. Otherwise, half open, looking down on the floor. Breathe naturally, gently like a baby. Breathe in, breathe out. Just let the breath be. This is very important. Don't force the breath, because we want the breath to become more peaceful. The more you watch the breath, the more peaceful it becomes. In the first stage, we count the breath. It's called counting. As your breath comes in, goes out, count 1. In and then smile. Inner smile in your heart. In, out, 2. In, out, 3. In, out, 4. In, out, 5. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5, like that. Now don't count less than 5. It's too short, too small. You can count up to 10 if you like, or any number between 5 and 10. And always stay with that number in one sitting. It's all right if you make mistakes, doesn't matter. You just go back to number 1 again whenever you're not sure. The counting is just to help us push away distracting thoughts. So count, smile. Even if the smile cannot be seen on the face, it's all right. It's the inner smile, happy smile. When you're happy, it's easier to meditate, easier to focus. Breathe easy. We are now experiencing the most profound truth of impermanence, the breath. What you breathe in, you must breathe out again. Even our breath is not ours. We breathe in, we give back. In, out one, in, out two, and so on. Smiling. Totally relaxed. If you still have difficulty, then you can picture yourself, you can visualize yourself to be like a big rock sitting solidly on the ground. Nothing can move you. So you're sitting there very solid, comfortable, relaxed. Or if you like, you can picture yourself to be like a small, round, white cloud floating in the clear blue sky. You're the only cloud there, happily floating, very light, very bright. In, out one, in, out two, in, out three, and so on. And smile. Now go on counting if you like. For some people, you may not find counting easy. You might not even like counting. It's quite natural. There are some people, about half of the meditators roughly may be like that, so it's quite normal. If that is the case, then you can start straight with number two, stage two. Stage two is the in, out. The short name is in, out. The breath has come in, simply note it as in. Smile. The breath has gone out, note it as out. Smile. In, out, in, out. Smiling. Relax breathing. Sometimes your breath will be deep, sometimes shallow, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. We can call this beautiful breathing if you like. Peaceful breathing. Now all you do is maintain this way, in, out, in, out. And when you do this in a relaxed way, you will notice your breathing slowing down. You notice the space between in and out getting longer. And once you notice the space between in and out getting longer, smile at it so that thoughts don't distract you. Just smile at it, feel the peace, smile at it. In space, smile. Out, space, smile. This is stage 3. The fourth word is space. Now, stage 1 and 2 are easy. You can make some effort there. But stage 3, you cannot make it happen. It's the result of stage 2, of watching the in, out in a peaceful way. After a while, you notice the space. So this stage 2, stage 3 and 4 rather. Stage 3 and 4 is called undirected meditation. When it comes, you just smile at it and feel the peace of the spaces in between the breaths. Now, if you sit a little longer, a little bit more patient and smiling, you might see the spaces brighten up, kind of joyful. Just let it happen. You can't make it happen. You cannot wish it. Those are all thinking. We don't want that. Just be there. Just make friends with your mind. It's just like taming a little puppy. You make friends with this little puppy. Then the puppy will be very nice to you. You may or may not notice the spaces now. Doesn't matter. Just remember the steps. You practice on your own and see what happens. So this third stage is called space. Now, as you sit longer, you sit properly in a relaxed way, you feel the peace even more beautiful. That even to say in out is quite loud, distracting even. That means you are ready for stage 4. Stage 4, the code word is silence. Silence, no need to say anything. This is the most important stage. You are the breath. There's no more separation of you and the breath. The breath doesn't seem to be there because you have become the breath. The breath has become mental. Body has become mind. So feel the peace, smile at it, and keep it as long as you can. At first, maybe just a few minutes. Then when you're good, it might last half an hour, 1 hour, or even longer. Just let it be. Don't wish for anything. You have your whole lifetime to do this practice. Feel the peace, smile. Sometimes you are so peaceful, you don't need to do anything at all. That is very good too. Whenever you notice any thoughts coming, just smile. Any distractions, just smile at it. Push it away by smiling at it. So these are the 4 steps. When you practice on your own, even doing stage 1, stage 2 can be enough to start with. If you find the sitting a bit long or difficult, just do stage 1, stage 2, or just one of the stages, like maybe counting or in out, just do that. You'll find even doing that for 5 minutes is very helpful in the long run, because meditation is the habit of feeling peaceful within you, keeping the mind calm and clear. Now, before we end, we do what is called a review. We review our practice. That means you remember all the good parts, peace, the great peace or joy, remember them. This is your good karma. Now you turn it in, it's your mental karma. Remember it. It will help you in your future meditations. Whenever you need peace, remember this. So this is the first kind of review. The second kind of review is notice any difficulties you have, note them. If you know the conditions and the causes of it, next time try to correct all those, prevent the distractions. Otherwise, you can note them down and ask during question time. So this is your review. Here we just do for a short while. On your own, you can take as long as you need. Now you may gently open your eyes. We are ending the sitting. Just open your eyes. This is called just sitting. Just sitting, preparing ourselves to get back to the samsaric world. We begin our meditation slowly and gently. We end it also slowly, gently. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we will start with our class, our talk. Okay, I need to share the screen. Okay. Right, so this is part 2 of the Saṅkhārā or formations. Okay, in last month's study on Saṅkhārā formation, we talked about Saṅkhārā in daily life, how we learn, how we think, basically how we function as a karmic being, if you like. So if you missed that, you can look up that. You can look at that video again. So today we're going to part 2. We're going to look a bit more on the mental aspects. Okay. So for those who are new, who just joined us, I'm going to summarize about the 5 aggregates. Now, the 5 aggregates is a basic teaching, very important early Buddhist doctrine, which talks about what we are, a summary of our being, our existence as mind and body. Okay, so we ask basic questions like, what am I? Okay, let's begin with that. Right, we know we have a body. Right, it's very obvious. It's empirical. We begin there. Okay, we have a body. And how do we know we have a body? Because we have a mind. The mind knows there is a body. Now notice the word for mind here is nama, and the word for body is rupa. Okay. Remember, there are many words for mind and also quite a number of words for body too, depending on the context. So never assume in Pali one word has one meaning. It's not always like that, because Pali is very contextual, very flexible, unlike English, unlike Chinese, okay? So you got to open up your mind, in other words, when you study Pali. It's very important. Then you can see the context better. It's like the Buddha is talking to us and he's talking contextually, like you talk with your friends. I mean, when you talk with your friend, you don't sound like a textbook. You talk freely using stories, images, and the words mean at that time what you're talking about. That's called context, contextual, okay? So nama here, of course, means name. It's the name you give to something in order to have a fix on it, in order to make sense to you. Notice the word makes sense. Where does the word sense come from? It comes from your senses. The mind works through our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and of course through its own itself, the mind. So that's nama. For example, when you first meet me, you do not know me, you want to know my name, you see, nama, right? When you look at an object, you want to know the name. So that's how we learn, name. The next thing is what you name, the thing name is rupa, it's form, it's the kind of form. So this form is not just solid form like your table, it's just any kind of matter. For example, in science, light, sound are also matter. So that kind of meaning, rupa, form, okay? So that's a quick look at these two. Now, then, if you look further into what is the body, is made up of solid parts. I remember the Buddha is talking 2,500 years ago. He's not talking science, he's talking meditation here. So he's using earth in a contextual sense. Earth meaning something solid, something hard, your bone, skin, teeth, and so on, all right? And we will look at this again in detail later. And then the next thing is our body is mostly water. Here again, water is just a word used contextually. It's not just H2O. Water refers to liquid. Most of our body is liquid, right? Blood, sweat, tears, urine, and so on. And then there is fire. You touch your body, you can feel warm or cold. So that's your fire, temperature, if you like. But it's more than that. It is the digestion that goes on in your body. It's the oxidation going on in your lungs and then other parts of your body. Oxidation is rusting. When it happens to metals, rusting. In other words, it's decay. So this fire is a word for decay. From the moment we are born, we start decaying, right? Even now we are decaying. Okay? This is fire, the fire element at work. So fire is also heat, as well as the function is decay. And then we have wind. Again, wind is just a name, convenient name. Wind is movement. It's the air you breathe in, air you breathe out. It's the most obvious example. The movement you make also is wind. Then within your body also there are movements. Food moves through your gullet, through your alimentary canal by peristalsis. The constriction of muscles pushing down the food, that also is wind, or wind action if you like. And then it goes down to the other end, that also is peristalsis. Then gases in your body, it's also wind. Okay, the wind, according to traditional Buddhist medicine, the wind passes around your body. In fact, these four elements are the basis of the earliest Indian medicine. Then later, the Ayurveda, the Brahmanical version, they took in, they just changed the name. Actually, it's Buddhist medicine, started with the Buddha and the monks. Okay, so based on the four elements, and they went to China, you get 6 elements and so on. So that's the body, made up of 4 elements, solid aspects. And then you have the mind. The mind is a bit more tricky. The mind is made up of feeling, right? How does feeling arise? You have a body, right? So the body contacts with external situation, you feel. So feeling arise, feeling. We already talked a lot about feeling. You can look up the video to watch that talk. Look at ask for the syllabus if you need it. So this feeling, we like it, we don't like it, or we don't know what it is. Three reactions, and this is through perception. Perception means recognition. we remember some past experience, and then we recognize the present experience. Okay, it's just like you have seen a cat before, then when you see another cat, you know, oh, that's a cat because of your past experience. Okay, that's called perception. By perception, feeling arises, and then we like or don't care about something. And then there is formation. This is what we're talking about today. Formation is how you react to it, and then you start feeling something deeper, like there is lust or desire, there's hate, or there is delusion, right? That becomes karma. So we want to avoid this part, this number of stage 4. But this happens very often anyway. Formation, we'll talk more about this today. And then the last one, the most difficult one, is consciousness. Notice consciousness is put between body and the mind, because we're talking about a conscious body. So this consciousness is the activity of all the 6 senses: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. We are aware of what's going on. Okay, so the two most important kind of consciousness. One is the one that's going on now. The other is rebirth consciousness, which keeps us alive. Okay, so that's another way of looking at it. So this is a very quick tour of the 5 aggregates. Now, so Saṅkhārā is another of those words in Pali which has really a huge meaning. It's not an easy word, but the word with the most meaning, of course, the word Dhamma. Okay, number 2, probably you can say Saṅkhārā. It's got many meanings, so you got to see the context. So here we're going to look at Saṅkhārā as an aggregate. What does it mean, aggregate? I mean, it's part of our being. Okay, part of the 5 we have just mentioned just now. So here we see Saṅkhārā, or formations, as the 4th aggregate. It refers to both kinds of karma. What are the 2 kinds of karma? Number 1 is karma as cause, if you like. It's like, for example, right now you're listening to me, you're creating mental karma, you're learning. And the result will be, if you are paying attention and you fit the understanding together, then you grow wiser, you become more knowledgeable. That's the effect or result. Now notice cetana means intention, volition. All right, cetana is always there. Cetana means whenever you act either out of greed, hate, or delusion, or non-greed, non-hate, non-delusion, that's cetana. So you notice in our daily life, there's hardly a moment when we do not have great hate or delusion, non-greed, non-hate, non-delusion. It's mostly the first 3, the unwholesome roots: greed, hate, delusion. So cetana is always there. We often have the wrong idea that, oh, sometimes we don't create karma. Not at all. All the time we are creating karma. You can't stop karma, unless you're sleeping, of course, you know. So the intention is there. So what we do not want it to be greed, hate, or delusion. And even when you're not conscious, you know, for example, let's say a butcher is so used to killing chickens and pigs and so on, that he doesn't even think twice about it. So he thinks that, wow, he's doing something good because he's taking care of the family and so on. But that killing is always rooted in either greed, hate, or delusion. Okay, so we can create karma unconsciously, or non-consciously rather, okay, without actually being aware of it. It's possible because the intention is there. So this is a very tricky idea we need to reflect on, okay? So that is why we need to consciously think of loving kindness or compassion, and then goodwill, and then generosity, things like that. And of course, have some wisdom so that we act correctly. In Pali, in the translation of the 3 Pali wholesome roots, we say non-greed, non-hate, non-delusion. So the effect, again, there's a lot of wrong view with the effect, right? We are so used to the idea, as you sow, so you shall reap. All right. This is not wrong, but it's not complete. It's not exact. Okay. Yes, what we sow, we reap, but we reap more than we sow. This is the thing. Okay. For example, let's say just by listening to today's study doesn't mean you get so much. You can't count how much you have known. It can lead you to know more things, and from there, each of you have your own way of learning, and you learn much more than each other. You know, it's very complicated. So you do one good deed, it doesn't mean you get one more unit of good deed. It's not like that. You know, it can multiply. Whenever there are the conditions are right, this good fruit, pala means fruit. In Malay, it's pahala, is it? Hala, okay, fruit. Whenever conditions are right, this good karma will ripen. It will ripen many, many times, not just once. So that's, we're talking a bit about karma here, okay? So here we have a cooking parable where when we think of Saṅkhārā as the aggregate, fourth aggregate, we can think of, like, you know, in cooking, you have many ingredients. The ingredients are the conditions. You put them together, and then you have to cook or in different ways, and then you wait a while until it's properly cooked, then you can eat it, right? So preparing the dish up to the time of cooking is karma as causes or conditions or cetana. And then once you leave it in the oven to let it cook, and then you enjoy it, you eat it, or if it is half cooked or doesn't taste or tastes too hot or is bland, then that's the effect, okay? So the cooking parable is a very good example to reflect on. Karma is Saṅkhārā. So this is where Saṅkhārā function as karma. So Saṅkhārā is the broader term here. It functions as karma, okay? Now, when we talk about Saṅkhārā as karma, there are 6 kinds. It's called 6 classes of volitions. Cha means 6. And the cetana kaya. Okay, you see kaya here. Kaya literally means body, but here it is figurative, body in the sense of collection, body of knowledge. Here's the body of volition. Notice here the kaya is translated as classes, all right? So it's a figurative translation. And this is found in what is called the Upadana Parivarta Sutta, S22.56. Now this number S22.56 is very important, okay? You remember that number, you remember the sutta, where to locate it, otherwise it's very difficult to find it. So the first kind of volition or cetana or intention arises through form. So it's called volition regarding forms. So in other words, when you look at some kind of form and then you think of something about it, you relate it to something nice in the past and you like it, that is karma, okay? That is good karma, of course. You see something, it depends. If you like it in the wrong way, it's bad karma. So it can be either good or bad, depending on how you like it. Then you think of something bad in the past, then you connect it with the present form, and you don't like it, you feel hatred. In this case, it's not good. Okay, it's clearly not good. And then the third one is interesting. You can't find anything to remember this. So you don't know what it is. So you leave it like that and you don't care about it. Then ignorance arises, okay? So the basic idea of karma here is if you like something, if you crave for something, the karma of craving, of lust arises in your unconscious. If you hate something, if you're angry about something, then the karma of the negative karma of hate will arise in you in the unconscious. And if you don't care about it, you leave it alone like that, ignorance will arise. You feed the what's called latent tendency of ignorance in your unconscious. We have talked about this in some of the earlier talks, and we'll probably come back to it later. So this is volition regarding forms, how you react towards form in a karmic way with greed, hate, delusion. And next, sounds also. You listen to sounds, okay? You say, oh, I like this sound. You crave for it, and I mean, it's okay to enjoy it. It's peaceful, and you don't get angry if the sound is missing. So it kind of goes like that. You let it come, you let it go. But if you crave for it, then there'll be suffering. That's the meaning here, all right? And if you don't reflect on impermanence on it, then this ignorance will arise in you. Volition regarding smell, same thing again. We have three reactions. We like it, we don't like it, we don't care about it. So this is how karma arises through smells. Volition regarding smells. There's a third class of volition, smell-bound karma, if you like, okay? Number 4 is taste, right? We're often attached to taste. We like some taste, we don't like some taste, or we don't care, we don't know what some taste is. So if you put in the 3 unwholesome roots of greed, hate, delusion, the same karmic effect can arise. For example, if you have a craving for meat and you eat too much meat and a raw steak, then you affect your health. For example, if you drink too much, it affects your health, things like that. That's an example of how craving for food can cause some karmic consequences. Number 5, touches. So this is the 5th of the 5 physical senses, right? So feeling here, including touches. Of course, if you are attached to it, then craving arises. And if you don't like it and hate arises, you don't care about it, then ignorance arises. Now become the most tricky one. 1 to 5 are physical, your physical senses. Number 6 is mental. So here's based on mind objects. These are your thoughts. So sometimes we get caught up with thoughts, right? So that's kind of based with craving. We love these thoughts. So we daydream, we get lost in it, and then time is lost, and we're not mindful. We can even get into trouble. We're cooking something and it's burning over, things like that. That's the first problem. Second one, we can get caught up in some thoughts through hatred and anger, and we think about it, and we get violent and so on, and then violence may result. So that's second kind of group of negative karma. The third one, we don't care about it. Now this is quite tricky. We don't care about it. This is what I've been talking about all the time, that we need to reflect on impermanence. We do not look at its impermanent. We say, oh, I don't care about this, doesn't matter to me, and we just let it go. Then ignorance is built up. You feed your unconscious with ignorance. So this is the most difficult one, okay? So I'm just giving a quick run through here. We will talk about this some more at the right time. So these are the 6 classes of intentions or volitions based on formations, on how we form karma towards form, sound, smells, taste, touches, and mind objects or thoughts. So there you are. You can, this was Saṅkhārā, translate as volitional formation, or simply you can shorten it to formations. Now when we put all this together in our daily life, what happens? There is this thing called paticca samuppada, dependent arising. Paticca is dependent, conditioned. Samuppada, very interesting word. See sam in front, sam is the prefix meaning together, like English com or con, same, no? Upada means arising. It's very easy to remember. You see up, up, up is like English up, pada, okay, arising up, okay, rising out, okay, upada, arising. Vibhanga, analysis on the dependent arising, sutta. S 12.2. Okay, this Paticca Samuppada Vibhanga Sutta defines Saṅkhārā as follows. And what bhikshus? Bhikshus are the monks, refers to people who are listening to the sutta, at this moment refers to us. What are volitional activities, right? Again, here you see the word activities is used. It's the same, volitional formations, volitional activities. Okay, so you can use either one. Okay, because there are three kinds of volitional activities or volitional formations: bodily formation, the verbal formation, mental formation. Okay, now we look at the from where this Saṅkhārā arises. Another way of putting it is, where does karma come from in our life? We create karma in three ways: through body, speech, or mind. That's the meaning here. When a karma arises to the body, it's called bodily formation. Okay, kaya saṅkhārā. When it is formed through speech, it's called verbal formation. Verbal formation, vaci saṅkhārā. When it is formed through the mind, it's called mental formation, mano saṅkhārā. Okay. Here we say mano saṅkhārā. Notice we don't say chitta. Later on we will see the difference. Huh? Okay, now let's look at the difference between Khandha, aggregate, and satipattḥāna. Okay, this one is quite quite deep. Huh? So just stay focused a bit. By the way, you can see this number here. So if you want to read more details, you go to volume 13, part 1 and part 3. This is on the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta in detail. Huh? Okay, the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta talks about focuses of mindfulness. Chatu means four. Okay, chatu. Okay, you know the Malay word chatur. Chatur means chess. Chatur has got four sides. Okay, actually refer to the fourfold army. So chatu is four. Sati, mindfulness, and then you should have an apostrophe here, and the missing letter is u or u, the vowel u, upaṭṭhāna. Upaṭṭhāna means established, to place, up upon, the establishment of mindfulness. That's the technical translation. Here we use a free translation for focuses of mindfulness. What are they? Number one is called body-based mindfulness. Number two is called feeling-based mindfulness. Number three, mind-based mindfulness. Notice here the word is chitta, not mano, chitta, because we're doing something good here. That's one way of looking at it. We are looking at the thought, just the thought, not creating karma with the thought. So it's chitta. And then there is dharmas. This is tricky, a lot of people do not know how to translate this. So one safe way is don't translate, you use borrow the Pali or Sanskrit dharma, okay? The meaning, as far as I understand, is reality, realities with the S. This arises in your mind as you meditate, like Four Noble Truths, the five hindrances and so on, okay? So these are dharmas. So this is called dharma-based or reality-based mindfulness. So mindfulness is based on four things. You got to be mindful of your body, your feelings, of the thoughts going on in your mind, and then notice what happens to those thoughts. What else arises behind those thoughts when you think about impermanence and related to the Dharma. I guess that's the fourth category. So here you see this very interesting diagram, a little bit more detail. This is the Pali word here, the fourth, same thing. Now we look into more details, the four focuses of mindfulness. The first one, kaya anupasana. Kaya means body. Here the physical body, just our body, so it's called kaya. Anupasana, okay? Pasana, pasati means is a verb, he sees. Pasana is a noun. Pasana means seeing, okay? Then you put anu. Anu is a prefix. It means to do again and again in this case. Anupasana. This is anu also means to follow. So this is mindfulness following or keeping to the body. Body-based meditation, body-based contemplation. Okay, so anupasana can translate as contemplation if you like, observation if you like. Okay, don't worry about the translation. Important thing is what you do with it. This is called contemplation of the body or body-based meditation. I like words which are practical, which helps you to understand the practice. Okay, so I use body-based meditation. For example, you did breath meditation today. That is an example of body-based meditation in the Satipatthanas Sutta. It's based on the body. Why? Because the breath is a part of your body. Then there is this feeling-based meditation, Vedana Nupasana, contemplation on feelings, right? Notice Vedana is a feminine gender, the R ending, open vowel, long vowel, 2 counts. And then there's a apostrophe here, A is missing. So Anupasana, they're all Anupasana, okay, ending. Contemplation of feelings, feeling-based meditation. So next time your feelings arise in you, it is an occasion of Dharma teaching arising. Don't get angry. Anger is there. Just watch that anger. It is not your anger. You don't want that anger, but you're watching it. This is anger. I don't like it. It's making me look ugly, making me look unhappy. My heart rate is going up. So you watch it and you know what it really is without owning it. That's one example of feeling-based meditation. Now it gets a little harder. Citta Nupasana. Here you can see what it's called a carrot, a little roof there, like an arrowhead. So that means the vowel here is a conjunct vowel, the 2 vowels. They're usually the same. So citta, the one word, and then anupasana, another word. So you separate the 2. So citta with that carrot means that the 2 words joined together. We call it a compound. And citta nupasana translate as contemplation of the mind, mind-based meditation. Notice here, citta is, mind is citta, not mano. Because here is the thoughts that we are watching. Okay. Now comes the last one, Dhamma Nupasana. Again, you see the carrot there. Dhamma plus Anupasana. Okay. Contemplation of Dhammas. Notice here I say a reality-based meditation. So whatever arises in your mind in terms of the Dhamma, in terms of reality, you watch it. For example, you notice it's sleepiness. Okay, that is one of the hindrances. Or you notice impermanence, a thought of impermanence arising in your mind. Okay, you reflect on that. So this is what it's like. Watch it, just observe it. So this is a little bit more tricky. This only works when you know how well you know Dharma. It depends on that. That's why we need to know the teaching. Okay, we're not learning religion here. We're learning about reality. What's going on inside us, outside us. Okay, so we're learning about reality. So in that sense, Buddhism is not really a religion. It's something about self-knowledge, self-understanding, if you like. So this is a kind of overview of the 4 satipatthanas. We're going to link together here, okay, the 5 aggregates and the 4 focuses of mindfulness. Okay, remember, what are the 4 aggregates? Try to remember the Pali names. Body, feeling, and perception, formations, consciousness. Okay, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Saṅkhārā, Vijñāna. And then you have the 4 focuses of mindfulness, satipattḥāna. See, I've taken out all the Pali words, no? The 4 focuses of mindfulness, satipattḥāna. So the aggregate body, Rupa, is the same as aggregate body, Kaya. But Kaya is a smaller category, okay? Rupa is a bigger category. Here, under body, in terms of focuses of mindfulness, or if you like, what we can use in our meditation in terms of the body, we have the 4 postures. You can reflect on your posture. Be mindful as you stand, sit, walk, or lie down. Okay, so there is walking meditation. Now, walking meditation is very interesting. Although we call it walking meditation, it actually involves all the 4 postures. According to Buddhism, the 4 postures are standing, walking, sitting, lying down. Well, we call it walking meditation because that's what we do most. So you walk very slowly, mindful of your steps. You are with the movement of the walk. You are present in the walking. But then you also stand. You stop a while and you stand. So it is standing, right? And then there is one more, which is not mentioned here because it's just a moment. That's turning. You're also turning, and also you observe the turning. And then you start walking again. And after that, you want to rest. You sit down. You observe the posture, how your body moves, and you sit down. Okay, and then you lie down. Slowly, you bend. You lie down. You notice how the body moves, and you lie down. So you watch this body changing postures. Okay, and of course, there is the famous breath meditation. And then you can also watch the body as the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind. As you sit in your meditation, you can feel the hardness of the chair. That is earth element. Your hand, your palms touching each other, hand touching your hand. You can feel the contact, the impact of your hand, your fingers on your hand. That is that impact, that contact is earth element. You can feel your hand resting on your thighs. That feeling of resistance is earth element. When you're standing on the ground, you feel the impact of your foot pressing against the ground, earth element. Okay. When you touch the table, you feel the table rough, the rough feeling, earth element. So this earth element is hardness, roughness, resistance. Okay. You can also feel the earth element in your mouth. You use the tip of your tongue and you touch the tip of your teeth, upper row of teeth, or the back of the teeth. You can feel the hardness of the teeth. That is earth element. Because when you're sitting in meditation, we don't want to move to be distracted. So we use the tongue. You can feel the hardness of the teeth and we say earth element, earth element. We become aware our body is made of the elements. And then water, your sweat, right? You can feel the sweat, or you can feel the saliva in your mouth, or when you're having a cold, the liquid in your mouth, when you're peeing, or that water element. Fire element, you can feel the warmth of your body. You can feel warmth in your armpit, for example. So those are fire elements. Not so easy to observe, but it's there. And when you're having a fever, observe the fire element. You heal faster. Because you're more relaxed. Okay. And then wind element, of course, is the most famous. You watch the breath coming in, going out. It's the wind element. Okay, your movements, the wind element. So those are the 4 elements. So there are lots of things to talk about in meditation. So these are some of the, just a few examples under the category body-based meditation. Then there's feeling-based meditation. Here again, we watch the 3 kinds of feelings. Just be aware of what they are, right? Whether they are happy feelings or painful feelings or neutral feelings. Now that is a good way of looking at it. Or you can watch it as craving and hatred or delusion. The last one is not easy to watch. Okay, so this is watching feelings. It's a bit more difficult, but it's possible. Watching the mind, watching your thoughts. Okay, so this one is just watching the thoughts come and then go, not following them. again, it's quite tricky, but we just watch the thoughts coming and going, not following them, watching the nature of thoughts. And number 4, of course, is watching whatever realities that arise in our minds in terms of the aggregates, in terms of the hindrances and so on, the various teachings we have learned. Okay, now let's see how all this, you can see how the 5 aggregates are closely connected with the 4 focuses of mindfulness. Rupa, body is the same as kaya, body, feeling the same. Perception and mind overlap. Formation and dharma overlap. Then you have only one different extra one, consciousness, and that is categorized with mind also. So that's how you see 2 models. Okay, one is the 5 aggregate model, the other is the 4 focuses of mindfulness models. So they are teaching the same thing with different emphasis. All right, so you notice here, this is how you see they're interconnected. Right, so it's so simple and beautiful once you notice it like this, isn't it, right? And a diagram, this beautiful diagram which Ratna has done, you can see so easily, right? Okay, right now we have a short break. It's 11 o'clock, 5 minutes break. All right, now let's look at how the aggregates are connected with the suttas again. So this is from the Satipatthanas suttas. There are 2 Satipatthanas sutta, D22 and M10. If you want to practice meditation, use M10. M10 is the best one. D22 is too long. D22 actually has got 2 suttas, Satipatthana as well as the Satya Vibhanga Sutta. So you just need the Satipatthana Sutta, M10, Anapanasati Sutta on the breath, and Maharahulo Vara Sutta on some basic ideas on how to deal with thoughts with your mind, M62. So contemplation of the body, Kaya Nupasana. There are 5 sets of exercises. So we are looking into details now, how the 4 satipatthanas work. We have 4 posture I already mentioned earlier to you in detail. Standing, walking, sitting, lying down. And then there is what's called clear knowing. So this one is, they're kind of connected. The 1 and 2 are connected. For example, the 4 postures, standing, walking, sitting, lying down. Whatever you're doing, you clearly know, you're following it. Your mind is not clouded. You're focused on the present of your action. And clear knowing is much more than just 4 posture. When the monk said when he's wearing his robe, so when you're wearing your clothes. When you're showering, you feel the water falling on you and you're rubbing soap on you, you feel all that. And then when you're eating, you're also mindful. So clear knowing is a kind of clear awareness what's going on. So you can choose the focus of your practice, in other words. So clear knowing is knowing exactly what you're doing. Perception of foulness is a kind of a bit tricky. You should not do this if you're not inclined to, and you must always end it with loving kindness. Because here we are watching the impurity of the body. We may think, oh, this body is very nice. This is special people who are very attached to the body, attracted to the physical body, right? So we just say, okay, this body, if we don't wash it for 1 day and it's a hot day, it's a warm day, it's going to smell. And then there's all kinds of waste material coming up from the body. So you reflect in that way. So this is a kind of aversion therapy, okay? So you reflect on this, the body, and then you have these little bugs infesting the body if you go into the jungle or lie on the grass. So this is a special kind of meditation. It's called perception because you watch what's already there. And then there are lots of impurities on the body in that sense. And the 4 elements I already mentioned, earth, water, fire, wind. We look at the body and it's composed of these 4 basic elements. Now we come the most dreadful, most scariest, the scariest of this practice is called the 9 corpse meditation. or what's called the Chanagram meditations, the 9 stages of bodily decomposition. That is something is very difficult to do nowadays. Unless you're a medical student, even then you don't see the body and all the 9 stages of decomposition. In the Buddha's time, the poor who couldn't afford to cremate their body, like today, COVID, you see in India, many of them couldn't afford to cremate the body, and they dump the body in the river. So it's really dreadful. All these bodies are floating down the river, and then downriver they have to collect all these bodies so it doesn't pollute the river. So in Buddha's time, the poor would leave the corpse in what's called charnel ground, CHARNEL, for animals and bugs and birds to eat up the body. Okay, so this is the charnel ground meditation, the 9 stages of decomposition. The first one, of course, just the corpse lying like that. In medical science, you say the autolysis already sets in, the body is eating itself, digesting itself. But you see the body as if the person is still alive, but he's dead. That's the first stage. And the second stage is a carcass eaten by birds and animals, worms and bugs, but the body is generally still there. Then number 3 is a skeleton. You notice you can see the bone is flesh and blood connected with tissues. So the skeleton is still connected with, there's still some blood and tissue. Number 4 is the skeleton. There's no more flesh left, but still a bit of blood and a bit of tissue holding the bones together. And then number 5 is all the flesh, all the blood are gone, but still connected. Okay, that's stage 5. Stage 6, disconnected bones. I love reading this part in the sutta. It says a hip bone here, a scapula there, a skull here, and a leg bone there. It's like almost like a song. So all the bones are all over the place, scattered up, broken up. So random disconnected bones. And number 7 are the bones. They're bleached this time, they're all white, like conch shells. So this already sometimes some months have passed. And number 8 are the bones piled up over a year, about a year old, after 1 year. Can you imagine? So all the bones are kind of also rotting. And then the last stage 9 is when the bone has become dust. Now there are rules for this last meditation. You can't do it by yourself. Your teacher has to see whether you need it or not. It's meant for people with a lot of strong lust. So for example, let's say people who are attracted to physical body, muscular body, they should be watching maybe number 1, number 2, either the stage 1 or stage 2 decomposition, you see the rotting body, then that lustful thoughts is gone and so on. Okay, so and then you got to do loving kindness practice to bring back the positive thought. You can't just do it like this. So you can't do this by yourself, right? So there's some people who like to post all these dreadful pictures online. I wouldn't encourage that because it will not be useful for certain people who are not ready. Okay. All right. So now we come to number 2B. B, that is contemplation on feelings. Here, there's only one exercise. That's watching the 3 kinds of feelings, which I already mentioned earlier. Feeling as pleasant, painful, or neutral. Now, then there are 2 more sets to consider. The most common one is called carnal. Carnal, that means based on the body. This is something outside of meditation, or you have not attained deep focus, jhana especially. So you feel something, you feel very happy. Okay, so that is, it's still good, but you note it as a carnal, a bodily, worldly, pleasant feeling. Or you will feel pain, you will feel a bit of pain after sitting so long. So it's a worldly or carnal pain. Or there is a neutral feeling. This is by deduction. We look back, we say the feeling is neither pleasant nor painful, therefore it is neutral. It reflects that way. And we reflect it as being impermanent, all right? Spiritual here refers to when you're in jhana, okay? Of course, in jhana, there's just bliss, When you come out of jhana, you still feel peaceful, you still feel good. Then you notice pleasant, painful, neutral feeling. it is still a spiritual experience. So that's the difference here. There's one simple rule here. Reflect on all this as impermanent and you'll be good, you'll be safe. Okay, so this is only one exercise, contemplation of feelings. Now we go on, another set. C, contemplation of mind or mind consciousness, Citta Nupasana. Here we examine what I call the 16 states of mind, 8 pairs actually. Again, here this is after the fact. Once you notice the mind like that, and you examine, usually during review period, you note whether the mind is full of lust or whether the lust is gone. Okay, it's the first pair. And second pair, you notice hate arising or has arisen, and then it's gone. Okay, so this is the second pair. Third pair is you notice delusion. It's a bit tricky here, but you notice, oh, you had a wrong idea, so it's deluded, and then it's gone, undeluded, right? Then the fourth pair is the mind is narrow. Here narrow means sloth and torpor. You feel a bit tired, lazy, sleepy. Okay, so that's narrowed mind. You notice that. And then the second of the pair is called distracted mind. That is marked by restlessness and worry. Okay, restlessness because we think of what we want to do after the meditation, and we will it's like we want to jump and get it done. Huh? And then worry is you think about the past, and then you feel guilty and so on. So distractions will arise. So this is the fourth pair. Fifth pair is the great mind, the small mind. The great mind here refers to mind in jhana, the mind which is full of loving kindness, for example. And then the small mind, of course, is just the opposite. You're not able to get that yet. So you know all this, you notice the nature of the mind. All this can be found in the Satipattthāna Sutta, by the way, so don't worry if you miss what I said. Look up M10, it's all there with the notes. SD13, by the way. Everything is in your notes. You look either this one or the previous one. Number 7 is concentrated, number 6 rather, is unsurpassable and unsurpassable mind. This one is a bit difficult. Not many teachers are sure exactly what it means. My educated guess is surpassable means you are able to rise beyond the present state. You can get out of it, go to higher state. Unsurpassable means you're kind of like you're stuck on that level and you have difficulty rising one more step, something like that. That happens in meditation. It makes good sense to see that way. The 7th pair is concentrated and unconcentrated. This speaks for itself. It's got to do with samadhi, whether the mind is focused or not focused, and you find out why, and then kind of correct it. And the last one deals with attaining of awakening itself, the freed mind and the unfreed mind, right? So the Arhat knows the mind is free. For us, we know the mind is not free, so we still want to meditate, okay? All right, the last one, D, is contemplating dharmas, Dharma Nupasana. Here you have 5 teachings. First thing that may arise in your mind are any of the 5 hindrances. When you're meditating, these teachings, understanding arise in you, okay? Now here I've put for you the ST also, ST number in case you want to look up, okay? So the ST number is here. So very quickly, the 5 aggregates are Kama Chanda, that is a desire for sensual pleasure that will distract you from meditation. Hindrances mean hindrance to meditation. The first thing is if you are really attached to desire, it's very difficult to meditate. And then the opposite, Vyapada, ill will, is the opposite. They go together. You get rid of one, you get rid of the other. Vyapada, you have a lot of anger, hatred, it's hard to meditate. And then the second 2, the blue and the green, are also connected, okay? Tinamida, sloth and torpor, okay? Some teachers say this is like a bodily tiredness, mental tiredness. They're kind of interconnected. You feel sleepy, tired, maybe you are staying too long in one stage, you know, or you're meditated too long, right? So you can feel sleepy, tired, drowsy. And then Udacha, Kukucha is the opposite, restlessness and worry, I already mentioned earlier, restlessness arises when you start thinking of what you're going to do next, especially at the end of the meditation, then you want to jump into it, you become restless. Kucha is some past thoughts come back and then you feel guilty and sad because your mind is so calm, a lot of memories will come back. This is why we don't want to create bad karma. This bad karma will come back when you meditate, the memories of it. You begin to feel guilty. That is why we want to do lots of metta when we meditate. We want to clean up the mind. Yeah? Now, the last one is vicikicca. Vicikicca. Cikicca means to be sick. Then there's a we in front, meaning breaking up. Vicikicca means doubt, right? We are wondering, is this right? Is that right? You know? So vicikicca arises because we don't have enough wisdom. That is why studying the suttas is very important to help you in meditation. So that's a quick run through for 5 hindrances. The 5 aggregates is what we are talking about here. They are found in this big double volume, SD17. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Saṅkhārā, Vijñāna, the 5 aggregates, okay? The 5 sense bases are also very easy. And here notice this is found in SD 7.1. You can read about it in this volume. Chakku is the eye, conscious eye. Notice chakku is a Pali word for conscious eye, eye faculty, rather. There is akhi. Akhi is just the eyeball. Okay, so we rarely use that word. Sota is the ear faculty. Ghana is the nose, smelling faculty. Jiva is the tongue, taste faculty. Kaya is the body, feeling faculty. Mano is the mind that creates karma. Notice here's mano, not chitta. Yeah? Then we have this beautiful 7 awakening factors, SD 10.1. What happens when we meditate? Okay, so this is roughly like a 7 sequence, 7 aspects of meditation you should be aware of, more or less. You begin your meditation with sati, mindfulness, okay? And when whatever arises in your mind, you examine it. Dhamma here means states of mind. Vichaya means examining, okay? And then you watch them as impermanent, let them go. You keep up the effort here, keep up the effort. And when you do that, piti, joy, zest arises, this sense of joyful interest. It keeps you going, okay? You don't have this, you can't work, okay? Pasadi is your body also feels restful, feel good, feel healthy, feel happy, basically. Pasadi, tranquility of the body, pasadi. Samadhi is mental concentration, mental oneness, which leads to upekkha, equanimity, mental peace. Even jhana is included here. So these are the 7 factors of awakening. Once the 5 hindrances are cleared away, the 7 factors arise. They normally get paired up like that. And then there are the 4 noble truths, which is for us to reflect on so that we are free from suffering. You understand one, you understand the rest. But we tend to understand only in parts. In theory, yes, but there's a lot more to know, to experience it. There is the noble truth that is dukkha, suffering. The noble truth that is samudaya, arising. We don't say causes, we say arising. Nirodha, ending. Magga is the path, how to get there, okay? In full, we say dukkha ariya satcha, samudaya ariya satcha, nirodha ariya satcha, magga ariya satcha. So this is, we reflect on all this. This is the 4th satipattḥāna, contemplating on dharmas. Now you also see Saṅkhārā. This is another element of Saṅkhārā, another role of Saṅkhārā. You see Saṅkhārā functioning in dependent arising. Dependent arising is a formula showing us how situations arise in our life. Why do we experience something? How do we experience something? We start with ignorance. Okay, when there is ignorance, we start thinking of this, we see things, we think of that, all right? We start putting in our own ideas. That is Saṅkhārā. Sorry, that is ignorance rather. Now let me give you a simple example here, something I was told recently. Let's say nobody dies, okay? There's no death in the family, so we all are happy, we don't care about religion. Then when somebody dies, the one who knows about about Buddhism, they know about death, they're very calm, they know that you have to be calm, that, you know, crying loudly is no use, do some good deeds for the dead, I mean, dedicate merits. You don't transfer merits, no such thing. You dedicate merits, things like that. But those who are ignorant, they start worrying, oh, we've got to call that priest, this priest, and he comes in the big, huge car, and then we say, wow, this priest is very rich. You know? So we form ideas in our minds, and we get all confused and really mixed up. See? That's formations, right? So from ignorance arises formations. We form all kinds of ideas. And this feeds our consciousness. This is how we think, our consciousness. And this consciousness experiences things by naming and forming ideas. That's one simple way of looking at it. And from name and form, our senses become educated. Our senses begin to be conditioned like Pavlov's dog, okay? Now, this is very easy to understand when you think of how we treat babies. We buy toys for babies, colorful toys, noisy toys, ding dong, and squeak squeak with a rubber ducky. So this little baby learns to connect with sounds. And you notice babies, whatever they hold, they must bite it. They want to know how does it taste. So they want to have a full experience of this toy, right? So they see these brightly colored toys, they begin to slowly form ideas about it, and their six senses begin to grow through that toy experience. So this is a simple example there. Through contact, right? Contact meaning the sense are activated. There is sense faculty, sense object, sense contact, feeling arises. Contact here means stimulus, sense stimulus. From the sense basis, there comes sense stimulus. And because there is contact, we have feeling. We like it, we don't like it, we don't care about it. Either way, there is craving. If we don't like something, if we like something, we pull it towards ourselves, we want more. If we don't like it, we push it away. That is also craving. And if we don't care, that is also craving because it doesn't fit into our craving, so we don't care. And when you crave for something, you get it, you cling to it, right? So that's not stage 9. And when you cling to it, you become it. You are like it. You get caught up with it. You keep thinking of it. You are limited by it. And that causes you to arise again. Next life, you'll more or less same behavior. And because of birth, there is death, decay and death. And it goes back to ignorance, and round and round it goes, this cycle of dependent arising. This is a very difficult teaching to understand, but here it is in summary. And you can see the location of formations as number 2 in the dependent arising cycle. You want to know more here, read 17.6, 7.1. Now, Saṅkhārā is inclination. It means a habit, nati, inclination. This is called habitual karma or ajina karma. In the Dveda Vitaka Sutta, the Buddha says, choose whatever a monk often thinks about and ponders upon, that will become his mental inclination, nati. Simply means whatever you think often about becomes your habit, and you're going to keep on doing that. So here the sutta says, bhikshus, whatever one intends and one plans, whatever lie latent in one. So this is your unconscious. No? So that becomes a basis for maintenance of consciousness. Right? So this is your unconscious is the basis. It keeps you pushing what you will do or will not do. And this consciousness that arises and grows is called inclination. Okay? When there is inclination, there is coming and going. Now, this is a bit tricky, this word, but agati has also the sense of bias. Your bias means greed, hate, illusion, fear, and you tend to act. Gati means acting in that way. So this is my understanding, okay? And when you have this, then there is passing away. And when there's passing away, there is rebirth, okay? Now, we got to notice what kind of habits we have. If they are good, we develop them. If they are bad, we have to let go of them. So here the Buddha teaches us there is wavering in one who is dependent. That means you're caught up in a habit. Habits means you're dependent on certain outside stimulus and then you react. You're poked and then you react. You're poked, you react, just like in social media. If there's no wavering in one who is independent, when there's no wavering, there's tranquility. No wavering, you're independent. Emotionally independent. You don't depend on others to say nice things to you, to applaud you. You're happy for yourself. You give happiness to others. So there's no wavering. You're calm, inwardly calm. That's what smiling inside us does. Then there is peace, tranquility inside you. And when there is tranquility, there's no inclination. You're not going to get caught up with negative habits like smoking, gambling, watching unseemly shows, things like that, or going to unseemly places. When there's no inclination, there's no coming and going, there's no acting on bias and so on. And because of that, there's no passing away and reappearing. Okay, this was on a higher level, okay, for the Arhat. So when there's no arising and no reappearing, there's no here, no beyond, no in between. It's the nature of the Arhat. No here means you're not reborn in this world. No beyond, you're not reborn in some higher worlds, the heavens. No in between, the in between states. Okay, so this is the benefit of knowing our habits and letting go of it. And this is the end of suffering, declares the Buddha. Now we come to something new. Now we talk about Saṅkhārā. We can talk about the mind. Our mind is made up of factors, aspects of the mind. So in Abhidhamma, they're called mental factors. Chitta is mind, something to do with the thought, chitta, and then Chittasika is a kind of adjective, something to do with the mind, something to do with the mind. Now, according to the Abhidhamma, you have consciousness of the five aggregates is called mind, chitta, right? And formations are mental factors. They are aspects of the mind, attending and conditioning the mind as concomitants. The concomitant means mental factors. So you have the mind, chitta. Chitta is like, you can say the neutral mind or the good mind even, but there is the formations, the one influencing it, okay? The influence is in a bad way, in a good way. Either way, we are still caught in samsara. For the Arhat, neither good nor bad influences him. So we are altogether 52 mental factors, and here it is found in the SC 17.1a. So now, don't worry about all this 52. It's quite technical. You can read this up in the book called Compendium of Buddhist of Abhidhamma, or in the what's called Abhidhammata Sanghaha. The most important are the first seven. The first seven are called universals. And they are ethically variable. In other words, they can be good or bad. And they're present in all our actions. Seven, number one is contact. Number two is feeling. Number three is perception. Four is volition. Five is one-pointedness. Six is life faculty. You got to be alive. And the last one is attention. Okay, so those are the seven of 52 mental factors. So in simple terms, formations, you can use formation for Saṅkhārā. No need to use big words, so that we don't get lost in the forest of words, right? Remember, we got to cut down all this, so many words. Then we hear so many words now, so that our minds learn to be calm, and then we see the tree of wisdom. Okay, we're reaching the end. So now we come to something different, unconscious. What is the unconscious? Saratena Sutta, S36.6. It feels when the uninstructed ordinary person is touched by a painful feeling, he sorrows, grieves, laments, beats his breast, become confused. Right? An ordinary person, if you pain, you suffer. Thus, he feels two feelings, the bodily and the mental. So an ordinary person suffers twice. This is something really worth learning. If you're ignorant, you suffer twice. Bodily pain, mental pain. Now the Buddha compares to a parable. Notice there are two arrows there. Picture it is just as if they were to wound a person with a dart, an arrow, and then they were to wound him with a second arrow. Again, you get shot, same place. And as such, that person would feel the sensation of two darts. For example, let's say we fall down and then we are ignorant, we have not heard Buddhism before, and we get very angry, we start cursing the floor, right? And that is silly, isn't it? I mean, if we fall, we just calmly get up, and then we see, okay, what's wrong with this floor? Oh, there's a hole there, we patch it up, right? So you just fall and then you learn, you notice what's wrong, then only one arrow hurt you. If you start cursing yourself, or worse, you start breaking up the floor, and there's a second arrow troubling you. So leave the pain at the body door. Don't take it into the mind. And being touched by that painful feeling, it shows aversion towards it. It gets angry. And because of that, then there is the latent tendency of aversion arises. Patigha nusaya. A painful feeling lies latent. You feed your unconscious. You fill yourself with hatred, in other words. And when touched by a painful feeling, he delights in sensual pleasure, right? So you want to heal it, you want to feel better. Why is that so? Because the uninstructed ordinary person knows no other escape than through sensual pleasures, right? We don't know other ways. So we go and gamble, we look for pleasure, because we do not know any other way. But as a Buddhist, we know we can meditate, we can look at it as being impermanent and so on. So this is the teaching on the two pains. So when we like, here's the opposite. When he delights in sensual pleasure, the latent tendency of lust towards pleasant feeling lies latent in him. The meaning is this: so every time you desire for something, it feeds your unconscious, then you want it again in the future. It builds up this cycle. So you got to stop it now. That's the meaning. When you get angry once, you get angry again. So stop now. That's the meaning here. He does not understand, according to true reality, the arising, the passing away, the gratification, the danger and escape with regards to feeling, right? So how feeling arises and what happens to it. We've got to understand all this. Not understanding these things according to reality, the latent tendency of ignorance, avijjanusaya, towards neutral feeling lies latent in him. Okay, notice this. This one's about neutral feeling. If you look up there, it's latent, it is pleasant feeling. And the earlier one before this is painful feeling. These are the three kinds of feeling. So if you get angry with the painful feeling, you sow seeds of hatred. If you get lost in nice feelings, lustful thoughts, unconscious tendency for lustful thoughts arise. And if you don't care about neutral feeling, you are feeding ignorance. So if he feels a painful feeling, he feels this yoke to him. If he feels a painful feeling, he feels that it is yoke to him. If he feels a neutral feeling, he feels this yoke to him. So in other words, here when it comes to neutral feeling, you have to reflect on impermanence so that it is not yoke to us. So this bhikshus is called an uninstructed ordinary person who is yoked to birth, death, sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, and despair. He is one who is yoked to suffering, I say, right? So this is how we suffer. Now, not all karma are conscious or deliberate, right? If monks, one does not intend, one does not plan, one is still driven by latent tendencies, anusati, okay? This is a mental basis that supports consciousness. Ananda, with ignorance as condition, when there is body, there is bodily, volition, pleasure, and pain arises internally. When there is speech, because of verbal volition, mental pleasure and pain arises internally. So this is because of speech. Body means bodily action, like breaking the first three precepts. And when there is mind, mental thinking, mental volition, pleasure and pain arises internally. So summary here, the unawakened mind constructs or creates a private world based on the past. In other words, habitual tendency prevents us from having self-knowledge. And to be liberated means we break through this shell of private reality. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and I'll push the rest of the slides to the next talk, because otherwise it'll be too long. You have no time to ask questions. Is it all right right now?
Yes, it's all right.
Okay. So, okay, now we have about 15 minutes for question time.
Yeah, you want to stop sharing your screen so that we can...
Okay, stop sharing, yes.
Yes, everyone, please turn on your video for Q&A session so that we can have better interaction. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have two questions in the chat box. The first one is from Sister Wong Fan Ling.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Brother Piya, does it mean the mind, citta in Dhammapada, referring to only the perception and consciousness instead of all the mind?
Yes. If you're talking about Dhammapada verse 1, the Pali word there is mano. Mano refers to the mind that creates karma. Okay, so it's not just thought, it creates karma. So it's just a matter of using the right word, that's all. If you just think of it as the mind, it's the mind, the volition that is behind the action, the mind of greed, hate, delusion, and that's good enough. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Next one from Sister Wong. So, is there any difference between vipaka, ripening of karma, and pala?
Oh,
karma as effect?
Yeah, same word. This synonyms. Vipaka means fruit. Sorry, pala means fruit. Vipaka means ripening. Actually, paka itself means ripening, but the we prefix put in front of it to show in different ways, ripening in different ways, not just one way, but different ways. So vipaka, pala, they refer to the same thing, but the usage is slightly different depending on how we see the results.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Brother Long. Please unmute yourself, please.
Oh, just now the last few, the second last slide, you were talking about neutral feeling if you have to aware of it or understand, otherwise you'll be ignorant. You can clarify that. I'm sorry, I missed the point, I guess.
Yeah, okay, neutral feeling is the tough one. It's the most difficult of the three because you cannot know it in the present time. When you won't know it is there because it's nothing to notice unless you're really sharp and well-trained in meditation. So meditation teachers will tell you neutral feeling is usually known after the fact. You come out of your meditation, then you look back, you say, oh, this feeling I had, it's not pleasant, it's not painful. Then you conclude it is neutral that way through your deduction in your through inference in your meditation. and then you reflect on it as being impermanent. I think this is easier to notice in daily life. Now, I think this is a very good tip for you if you're a student. Huh? You are studying and you get this neutral feeling. Actually, it's painful feeling, but you're bored, okay? So bored can be taken as neutral feeling if you like. So you tell yourself, okay, this feeling will pass away. It's impermanent. It's impermanent. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. But here, in terms of study, you can do more. You can put in metta. Then you say, okay, this lesson is interesting. I love this lesson. This is a good lecturer. Now, so you just say a few words like that occasionally. That will help you to stay focused in your study. So this is a bit of advice for students, okay, in terms of using metta to overcome this neutral feeling of boredom, feeling of dislike. Okay. I hope that helps. Long, okay, is it okay?
Okay.
Ask again.
Yeah, it's okay. I guess I just have to, while you're explaining, I'm trying to think about, you know, like for me, neutral feeling, is this something like, I was trying to think about like at work, okay, some people, I'm neutral towards that person, you know, like, can I use that? Or that's why.
Yeah, you can in a broad sense. In a broad sense, yeah, you can. But you must not leave it like that. You need to reflect a bit more and apply either loving kindness or impermanence.
Okay.
Then it is, we call it proactive. Otherwise, there's nothing happening there. It's going to lead to more ignorance. And we don't want that.
That's the part I don't understand. When you say it's ignorance, you're saying like because we're not aware of the neutral.
Yeah, because nothing happens. So if nothing happens, it leads to ignorance. You ignore it, so it's ignorance. Okay, because you're not learning anything about this person. You don't know why it's like that. You don't know why you react like that either.
Okay, so is it maybe like, okay, I guess sometimes I try to be neutral because I know that there's nothing much. Like for instance, I try to be neutral towards a person because I realize that I can't really help the person, and then I want to help the person, but I get angry. Then you know what? Okay, I'll just be neutral. Whatever you want to do is fine. It's none of my business. That's how I neutral.
Okay, that is different. That's your work decision. That's fine, you know.
Okay.
Here, there's something else here, tatra majata. That means a neutrality of mind that is in connection with people. That's called a kind of middle-mindedness. So it is not the meditation one here. Here is more like, you know what's going on and you know it is not beneficial for you to take sides. That is different. A kind of middle-mindedness, I call it. Something like you take the middle way. You don't take sides because you are the leader, you're the boss, so you have to do that. That is different. Okay, that's a decision you make, knowing well what's going on. So in this case, you know well what's going on, whereas in this neutral feeling, you don't know what's going on. So that's the big difference. So it can be a strategy if you know it. Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay, thank you. There's a question from Lester.
Yeah, sure.
He asks, karma is rooted when thought or intention started, or both intention and action is completed?
The thought initiates the action. In fact, it goes like different stages. You have the thought itself, that's karma already. And then the action done, you have another karma. It goes on like that. It's progressive. Karma is not like a lump. It's a progression following the action. And then something happens. And then you learn about it. I have a feeling that if you do not know about it, you may not suffer so much. You still suffer, but not so much. But later on, when you're wiser and you look back, then you learn it is wrong, the suffering comes back. Then you say, oh, I shouldn't have done this. But this is a good suffering because you learn this, you have done something wrong and you want to set it right. And that's what happens with the arahats, you know. They face their old karma and they calmly, they squarely face it, and they're not afraid to face it. all right? So as I said, karma goes on to take effect throughout your life, even until after awakening. Some of this karma can be quite strong. But then, of course, after awakening, you're strong. You're not afraid of them anymore. So it starts with a thought. That's my best answer. It starts with a thought, and then it's progressive. It depends on how it is done. Okay, so it's not like 1 = 1. It's not simple like that. It's progressive. Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay, Lester, is that okay?
Yeah. Okay. Let's ask again.
Okay. Now we have a question by Sister Wong again. She said, Brother Piya, can you explain a little on transfer merits,
Okay.
dedication merits you mentioned just now?
Yeah. Transference of merit is never taught in the suttas. It is a wrong view. We should not use this word because it gives us the ideas. Merit is like a thing. Merit is good karma. How can I transfer my good karma to you? Wow, if it's that easy, it'd be wonderful. You know, we can have a karma sharing session. You know, good karma. We can't. It's business talk here. Okay, so we cannot say transference. If you look at the sutta, there is what's called dedication. You look at the Tirokuda Sutta and Janasoni Sutta. You must have a loving kindness mind when you do this dedication of merit. When you are praying for the dead, the dying, you must have this loving kindness mind. Very important. That's why it's no point employing some professional undertakers and then you sit there and watch it, waiting for the ritual to be over, or even do the ritual of transference of merit. It doesn't work. In fact, it goes the opposite way because it's the wrong view. You got to have loving kindness, and then you think of this person, and you send your thoughts to this person. The more people do this, the better in a group. This aura of loving kindness. That's called dedication of merit. You dedicate all these good things going on, this mind, to this person who is dying, or even if the person is dead, if the consciousness is kind of lingering around, still stuck to that environment, this consciousness can sense this feeling. He feels happy, and then he lets go of this world, and then he moves on, is reborn. Okay, so we cannot transfer merit. I can't see how this transfer merit, like you burn a good expensive iPhone, and then this person gets it there. If that's the case, why don't you burn real money? I mean, you burn all this false money. This person can't use it, you know. It's just false money. I mean, this is children playing games. You know, you burn the house. All this to show, it's a status thing. You show people how rich you are, and the poor dead people are not benefiting in any way, right? So don't do this. It's a wrong idea. Né? Right? We need to follow what's called dedication of merit. Read the Tirokuda Sutta and Sada Janasoni Sutta. Okay, if you don't know what they are, just write to us. We'll send these two suttas to you. All the teachings are there. Okay. I see Eric's very happy.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
We got another question from Lester.
Yes.
A moment, I'm trying to get the question. Okay, from the 5 aggregates, the consciousness needs a body, physical or non-physical, in bracket, to reside. Can consciousness work without a body, just a mind state?
It's possible. Because there is the formless world, remember? You have consciousness, but no physical form, no body like ours. Even in the form world, Rupa Loka, ours is called Kama Loka. Kama Loka because we depend on the senses, the 5 senses. So it's called Kama Loka. The jhana world is called Rupa Loka, form world. They don't need the 5 senses like ours. They have feeling, yes, thought, yes, but not the kind of feeling we have. Okay, so they are refined form, so they don't need to take food. Okay, things like that. So that is the refined form world. They don't need a physical body like ours. And then you have the formless world. Wow, even more refined, pure energy. So consciousness can still exist in that sense. Okay, not actually exist in itself, but There are other factors involved there, okay, but not the physical body like ours, right?
Okay, thank you. We have another question from Sister Wong Fan Ling. If an action has been taken, but without any intention, does it consider karma? Does it cause any vipaka?
Yeah, intention is the key word. If there's no intention, it's done without intention, then we don't regard it as karma, okay? So of course we have to be very certain it is so, right? For example, this one of the big problems, like in the Holland, I think, you have this euthanasia, right? So we say, oh, we're killing this out of goodwill. You can talk that way, but according to Buddhism, killing always has one of the three unwholesome roots. In this case, it's probably delusion, because you can't destroy life with good intention. A Buddhist will find this difficult to accept. Okay, because life is such, you got to let it flow naturally, and it depends how humane we are to spend to be with this being in the last moments and help this being pass on painlessly. Of course, for example, you can give some painkiller, but some people, I remember someone in Australia was dying, and she was such a good Buddhist. She doesn't even want any morphine or painkillers. She wants to have a clear mind and pass away naturally. And everybody just are there to be with her, saying their goodbyes or just being present. Sometimes we do not know what to say to a dying person. Just be present. Like I told you before, I had many cats and dogs in the past. In Malaysia, we can keep as many cats and dogs as we like, but not in Singapore. So many of these cats and dogs die they come to me, and it's going to die, and then I'm just there watching them, and they look at you, and they like saying goodbye, and as they pass away, they just leave away like that, and you see them, and they feel safe passing away, and that's what we want them to feel when they pass away, feel safe. Okay, so it's a bit of sacrifice you make. That I suppose we use euthanasia maybe sometimes, for convenience. It's not an easy thing, all right? So we got to think about it a bit. All right, next question.
Okay, thank you. We already past 12, but we still have 3 more questions or 4 more questions.
Okay, we're all right. We are quite flexible. No, not too much. We normally will go further to start 15, if it's all right with people. Okay, if you really have to go, just put out your hand and say goodbye. All right, I hope not. All right, please.
From Sister Wong Yiling again. Is there any mention of ESP, extrasensory perception, in the suttas?
Not in those words, but because extrasensory perception, ESP, extrasensory perception, very interesting word. That means it goes beyond the physical senses, and all the powers mentioned in connection with meditation are beyond the senses. So they are all ESP. Yeah, so I would say yes, they are mentioned there, but they are mind-made, mind-based, and they are still worldly. They're not a sign of an awakened person at all. Okay, the Buddha often tells us that. And having said that, the Buddha declares the greatest miracle is not even mind reading or flying in the air. It is education. The ability to learn and change yourself to be a better person. That is the greatest miracle. Anusasane patihariya, the miracle of listening and learning and to change into a really good person. That is no miracle can do that for you. You have to do that yourself. Okay, so there are suttas on this. Kevada Sutta. All right. Okay, next question.
Okay, from Brother Eric from
Sure.
What suttas again? I already typed the name here, for you. There's 2 suttas Piya mentioned just now.
Oh.
Okay, it's Tirakuda Sutta and Janusoni Sutta. Okay.
You can message us. We'll send to you the latest.
We will put this in our Telegram later, okay?
Yes, we can do that also. Or you can still contact us. And we will send to you.
Oh yeah, Kema also. Well, Kema already put the link, the reference there. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, also, I get the latest version. We've got lots of new notes.
Yeah.
By the way, just for information, whenever you see our sutta, look at the very last line in the whole file. The very last line is called the colloquium or something at the end. You see computerized date there, all right? And the last date is the latest date. Check the latest date, and that's the new one. Get the latest one. Okay, go on, please.
Okay, from Sister Wong Fan Lin again. Can brother explain a little on piti and pasadi?
Okay, sure. Piti is a very exuberant, very joyful, like this pianist playing is so happy, very powerful feeling. It's a kind of feeling when you win the Olympics championship, wow, it's exuberant, that's piti, all right? Pasadi is when it's all over and you're calm, you're smiling, you have done this and you have nothing more to do, all right? So pasadi, they kind of go together. They're called piti sukha. Sukha and pasadi, I think, are very similar. And whenever you are focused on your work and it keeps you going, I sometimes translate it as joyful interest. The joy keeps you interested in that work. And it can be quite gentle. For example, when I do my sutta work, I say, wow, this sutta is so beautiful. That's joyful interest. And it keeps you going for 20 years. I've been doing suttas almost every day. And I'm waiting, once everything is finished, you go back to your homes, I go back to my sutta. You see? So that's piti, okay? Pasadi is that calmness, that joy. You feel happy, satisfied, just like that. Just looking around, smiling at people. You are happy for no reason at all, okay? Unreasonable happiness, that's fantastic. Then nobody can take it away, all right? You're happy for no reason. If you're happy for a reason, someone can take that reason away, all right? It is also called independent joy. You're independent, emotionally independent of others, all right? So that's another way. And you can also often see this in the way a person teaches a sutta. Is happy, exuberant about it, Okay. Yes?
Okay, we got one last question from Sister Kexil.
Sure.
Do the latent tendencies need to be purified completely?
Oh, definitely. You've got to be removed, uprooted. Otherwise, we still get caught in this world. Only the Arhat will uproot them on that very deep level. We'll be talking more about this conscious, pre-conscious, unconscious. It's a bit too long today, so I'm going to continue next round. All right, the 3 levels: conscious, pre-conscious, unconscious. And there is subconscious. All these 4 terms will be we discuss either next lesson or one of the coming lessons. So keep a note, huh? Okay, anything else? We've got to make an announcement, right, about next class?
Oh, next the next class for the
TP.
Path to Awakening, TP 2021, that will be on the
4th September.
Second Saturday of the month. You said the first Saturday for the next 2. Yeah.
Okay, TP9 was scheduled for 4th September, but it's very close. It's the very next day to the sutta class on the 3rd. So we are pushing it 1 week later. So that's a break for me and a break for you also. We're pushing it to the 11th. We will announce it for you. So just make a note. TP9 is on 11th September. 11th September, not 4th.
And TP10 also. Only these 2.
Yeah, only these 2. The rest are okay. We'll be announcing it anyway. Okay, so that's good.
Any last question, anybody? I hope I don't miss out anybody.
Any question missed out? Just put up your hand.
Don't have, huh? Okay, looks like all the questions are.
I'm just curious. I know today is someone from Germany and US. Anyone from Philippines here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're the only one, Eric? Okay, very good. We're happy you're there. What time is it there in Philippines?
12, past 12.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. We're happy to have you. Okay.
Yes.
I cannot find my raise hand button. Don't know why.
Sorry?
Now, can I just clarify? Because you were saying that the latent tendencies need to be uprooted and all, but I remember hearing that sometimes, latent tendency actually leads to your habitual thing. And like certain arahants, awakened beings, they still maintain their habits of some kind. Yeah, I don't know whether that's...
no, often I can't give you any sutta references, but it is the latent tendency, because the three most powerful latent tendency are lust, aversion, and ignorance. And the Arahat has overcome all these three. He has overcome ignorance. He has fully understood the Four Noble Truth, for example. We'll send the paper on the unconscious to you. Maybe you can read up some things there. Would you like that? Unconscious, because the latent tendency are under this paper called the unconscious.
Yeah, I mean, those are the three roots of evil: the greed, hatred, and delusion. The latent tendencies of greed, hatred, and delusion that you're saying. But I suppose when we talk about latent tendency, it kind of also leads to your habitual thing and your personality and all, which is maintained, but that's not rooted in greed, hatred, or delusion.
Yeah, in us, yes. In us, yes, but not in the Arahat. Because the Arahat is free from all this, you see.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can read up in the suttas on the article on unconscious. There are some more details there, which I will send it to you.
For example, it's like a personality. I think they refer Ajahn Mun as someone who is very harsh and all, but he's actually not rooted in hatred or anger. But he has this persona or personality.
I know.
That's from latent tendencies, no?
No. I don't know. In Ajahn Mun, I suppose yes, because people say as an Arahat. I say I don't know, you see, because I never like to say whoever is an Arahat, because when you say that, you are claiming implicitly you are an Arahat too, which is wrong, which is bad karma actually. So it is based in delusion, delusion-rooted karma. So don't declare anyone Arahat. It's out of pride, and delusion. So it's best. I mean, whatever people are, if they're good, you follow them, and later you don't like them, you say they are bad. So we canonize people according to our like or dislike of them. So we should not canonize people. Study the Dhamma and practice your path. Okay, we don't even know about the Buddha, but when you study the Dhamma, the more you know the Buddha. So we go like that. Okay. So okay, I think we've gone a little bit over our time. Don't tire yourself.
Thank you very much. Now we'll end.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do a closing reflection.
Okay.
So very beautiful Sunday here, and we have got together. We've done a bit of renunciation. You're practicing renunciation by spending time studying the suttas, learning about yourself. We have recited the three refuges of 5 precepts. We have done some meditation. And then we have listened to the Dhamma, asked questions. These are all good karma. Remember this moment. They will help you in your future meditation and your future happy life. At this moment also, just send your thoughts of loving kindness. May you be well and happy. May I be well and happy. Just tell yourself that by all these good deeds I've done. May my family, relatives, loved ones, friends, and others, send your kind thoughts to them that they may be well and happy wherever they are. And now we show our gratitude to the three jewels, the Buddha, our teacher, the Dhamma, his teaching, and the Sangha, the noble disciples who have followed his teaching as exemplars to us. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava, Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi. Bow down. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Dhammang Namasami. Bow down. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Sanghang Namami. Bow down. Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, Brother Piya.
Yes, thank you all for spending
Thank you,
time
Brother
with us.
Piya.
Thank you,
Sister
Sister
Ratna.
Piya.